Good morning, everyone. Well, it's good. It's good morning for me here. Good afternoon or good evening for you. And thanks for tuning in. I'm Brian Jones, and I'm a trainer in heartfulness meditation. And before we get going here, let me just open my chat window and see if you would like to just say hello and maybe just put your name and say where you're from. Would love to know that. I will also can take questions if you want to ask me questions throughout this um, stream. Feel free to do so. But I will say that I still can't take any questions from Instagram, but I can from YouTube and from Facebook. So people are saying good morning. Okay, great. Balakrishnan, hi. And Anil, welcome. Mira, great, fantastic. Thank you all for joining in. Charu from the UK. Oh, fantastic. I seem to connect with a lot of people from the UK for some reason. I don't really know why that is. My wife and I visited there on our way to India in 2020. And we had such a lovely time. We can't wait to come back to the UK. So fantastic. All right. So I'm going to just say that. Oh, okay. Rajesh from Bangalore. Vikram. Fantastic. All right. Great. Anuruddha. I hope I said that right. Good morning. Thank you. So I went out for a walk this morning. Today is just a glorious day outside. In fact, the past 3, 4 days have been the most beautiful summer days, that picture perfect, as we would say, picture perfect days. And so I've been going out for walks, which I really enjoy doing. And this morning I went out for a walk. And before I left, I sort of made the thought to myself that on this walk this morning, I would like to ponder and introspect on the theme for today. And the theme for today has to do with spectrum of consciousness. So I'm going to get into that in just a second. And, you know, when we think about, meditation and the practice of meditation and practice of cleaning, in heartfulness, we have several different, quite a few actually, different practices, but the main ones are cleaning and meditation. What do we get from those? What do we get when we meditate? Well, we don't really get anything. The truth is we become something. We become something when we meditate. When we meditate and we're able to quiet the mind and tap into our awareness in this by creating space within, our awareness actually can expand. And that's a very natural thing for us. So it's sort of like all of life's impressions that we accumulate, all of our past that we've accumulated. It's confined us. It's confined us into thinking we're just this body, these thoughts, these ideas, these opinions. But when we meditate, we give space to ourselves and we can let go of these past impressions and we can allow our awareness to expand. And I'm going to talk about how that happens and what are the benefits of that for us. So that's going to be part of today's topic. All right. Spectrum of consciousness. Ooh. All right, here we go. We got to think of it like this. Let's think of this spectrum of consciousness in the same way we think in terms of a spectrum of light. So if we think in terms of light, we can say, okay, the spectrum of light that we usually talk about, it goes anywhere from infrared over here, infrared, which we can't see it. And over here it goes to ultraviolet. And I'm kind of keeping my hands closer together today because I know on the Instagram feed it's a vertical, so I would normally be doing this. So, uh, so infrared, ultraviolet. So that's you can think of that as our spectrum of consciousness, our whole range of consciousness. Now, here's the thing: we humans perceive through our senses. We're aware through our senses, basically, or I should say that our awareness is wedded to our senses. So that tends to be our perception. Now, in between infrared and ultraviolet, there's a smaller window. There's a smaller spectrum. And this spectrum is the color spectrum from reds, violets, into yellows, oranges, greens, into blues and teals on this side. So these are this is the color spectrum that we are able to perceive with our eyes. And you can think of this like when you shine a light through a prism, okay? The light is just pure white, but when it goes through a prism, it breaks up into the spectrum of colors that our eyes can see. So our total area of consciousness is quite vast, but our area of awareness is limited by our sensory apparatus. And so this becomes our reality. We're never really accessing this ultraviolet infrared. We're not engaging with that frequency of colors. So this is it. Now, when we think about this in terms of consciousness, well, think how much more vast our consciousness is. And yet, we're only working with a tiny little area that is what our senses interpret. That is our awareness. Consciousness, vast. Awareness is just very narrow. So, when we do this cleaning in this method of heartfulness and when we do this meditation, what are we able to do? We are able to actually expand into, broaden our conscious awareness. Okay. So now let's go a little bit further. Let's think about this in a slightly different way. So, as I said, this was infrared, and this was ultraviolet. Let's now say this infrared area, let's look at this as our subconscious mind. And let's look at the other end of our spectrum, the ultraviolet end, as our superconscious mind, superconsciousness, subconsciousness, superconsciousness. We, through our senses, are only tapping into this portion in the middle, a small portion in the middle. Subconscious mind, we get in touch with this during sleep. And when a little bit of our conscious awareness touches on our subconscious mind, we have dreams. And those dreams are really usually way out there. Oftentimes they may make no sense. Why don't they make any sense usually? It's because the subconscious mind is the sum total of our past experience. It's the sum total of our past experience, but no longer is it there in a field of time. What does that mean? It means in our daily life, we interact and understand things because we're operating in a field of time. Okay, events are strung out in a timely fashion. Our thoughts are strung out in a timely fashion. But after all of these experiences are accumulated within us, they settle down into what we call the subconscious mind. There's no time there. There's no time. And so when our awareness touches it, we get these dreams that don't make sense. Now, it's touching on our past, our samskaras, our impressions that we've taken on, but there's no logic to it. Okay? So that's one way of understanding these dreams. And for those of you who are heartfulness meditators, I just want to bring something up to you. Very often in the beginning of an individual sitting, mostly, sometimes during a group sitting, but definitely during an individual sitting, right in the beginning, for maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds, you'll have an extreme rush of thoughts. And those thoughts will be very dreamlike in quality. They'll be so fast that we won't even be able to latch onto it. It's just going super fast, but they're dreamlike in quality. Okay. So understand that this is a result of the cleaning process. We are cleaning our impressions from the past. So therefore we are cleaning things that are resting there in our subconscious. And so when that cleaning comes up to the surface of our mind, our current consciousness, our current awareness tries to attempt to make some sense out of it. And so we might see some imagery or something, but nothing will make any sense. Okay, because we're in this present moment, can't make sense of all of our past impressions because they're no longer time based. They're just there. Like something stored on a hard drive. Okay. So once it's stored on the hard drive, it may be all over the hard drive, that information. And when we retrieve it, the current state of our awareness makes sense of that information, like our computer would, gather that information, those ones and zeros, and then reconstruct and bring it up on our screen and make sense of it. So I hope you're getting a little bit of this, how subconscious mind is one deep end of our spectrum of consciousness, and that deals with our past. And it's stored in a way that there's no time. So it's just sort of there as a weight for us in our past. Okay. Now, over here, we have got superconscious mind or superconsciousness. Let's just say superconsciousness. Now, just as I said this was our past, I cannot say that this is our future. Our superconsciousness is not our future. It is the infinite. It's the infinite, unconditioned. Can I even call it present? I can't even call it present because saying present is time based. So our superconsciousness is the state of the unconditioned. It's pure potentiality. It's potential. So that's the other end of our spectrum. So, wow, that's vast. So we're going from our past, which is like an inertia or weight, you know, that's dragging on us, dragging on our awareness, okay, all the way to our super consciousness, which is infinite potentiality. This is what we start to tap into when we expand our awareness through meditation and we clean away our past through the cleaning process. Follow me? I hope you do. Today's a little deep. Okay. Now, here's what I had today. I had some understanding that came to me on my walk today. And this is what I like to share, and this will help bring this all together. Why we meditate. One of the great benefits of our meditation. And we don't often dive into this, so I'm going to invite you to dive into this aspect of your meditation. In our meditation, it's possible for us, particularly after meditation, it's possible for us to give ourselves a suggestion and say, let's say there's a certain aspect of our nature that we've been feeling fearful about something. You can sit after meditation and you can ask yourself, what is the origin of this fear that I'm feeling? What is the origin? What is the cause of this self doubt that I'm feeling? Now you just hold that and you wait. And you'll be surprised that something will come to your mind. And it may be a feeling, and it may be a memory of something even from your distant past. We've given a little bit of space and a suggestion to sort of tap into our subconscious mind with an intention, time based intention to retrieve something, to show us something. So when we utilize meditation to understand something about ourselves, which will always be from the past, that we can call an insight. Okay, we're gaining an insight about ourselves. So these the insights we get in the way of feelings or memories will be something from our past that shaped us in this present. And when it comes to us, we can start to understand. When we understand it, it helps us to let go. Now, the cleaning removes a lot of this, but sometimes these deep rooted impressions, and believe me, we all have them, are core impressions. It helps us to gain an understanding or an insight about ourselves. So it's very, very important. So this is another important aspect of our meditation practice. All right, now, so we see how meditation in the present, when we clear our mind, we can give a suggestion which becomes more potent because our mind is clear, becomes more potent, and we can draw insights from the past. All right, so that's one thing. Now, what about over here? I said over here is superconsciousness. This is the unconditioned. It's unconditioned. What happens in meditation when our awareness can expand a little more into subconsciousness and a little bit more into superconscious state? Well, we gain intuition. We start to become intuitive. We are able to sense something that has yet to happen. We can sense something that may start to manifest in this unconditioned state as a result of our past actions. So our past actions keep repeating themselves, and because we repeat our past actions and our past patterns of thinking, we sort of create a future for ourselves that's going to happen because we're going to repeat the same things again. All right. So here's how we know when our awareness is expanding into our areas of consciousness that we are yet untapped. We will know this because we will start gaining insights about ourselves, and we will start becoming intuitive. We'll start becoming intuitive. So these are two maybe new ideas, okay, for you to explore. And I invite you to explore these in your meditation practice so that we can fully understand that Consciousness, when we say consciousness, it includes, it doesn't mean conscious awareness. Consciousness includes deep sleep. So it includes an aspect of consciousness where awareness is not there because our senses, our awareness is withdrawn from our senses. So therefore, we don't know what happens during sleep. But is consciousness there? Yes, but it's a consciousness. It's an unknowing consciousness. Don't know that. Can we say consciousness is infinite? We definitely can say that. Are we tapping into it? No, we're not tapping into our infinite consciousness yet because we're continuing to live through our time-based senses. We see things or we interact. Everything is now. It's I'm thinking of the past or I'm wishing for the future. So you see how we're all caught up in time. We're all caught up in our time-based existence, and the senses are time-based apparatus. So this is meditation is the way that we can tap into, expand our awareness into the subconscious and superconsciousness. And well, I invite you uh, to at your leisure explore that as an experiment and notice how more and more comes to you even during your day because these things are subtle. Insights can be very subtle, and you get different insights at different times. And along with that, both the insights and our intuition. It's very subtle. How many times, and this is how happened to all of us, you know, our cell phone rings, but we just know, even before it rings, we just have a feeling somebody has popped in our head. And maybe it's one of our family members, maybe it's a good friend of ours. Someone has just popped in our head. The phone rings, oh, it's them. This happens quite often, right? This is part of our intuition. We're sensing something. It's coming to us. So we can develop that, and I can assure you that we human beings of the future will be uh, very able to access the insights and our intuition for sure. So that's going to keep evolving and evolving as we go. Okay. I'm, that's what I wanted to say. So I'm going to check back in with just see if there's any questions here in the chat or comments or just people saying hi. So before we meditate together. So JB Freeman, Jennifer. Nice to know you're there, Jennifer. Really, I miss talking to you. I'd like to connect with you. Charo, do visit UK again and let the HFN community know. Yes, yes, you'll know. Last time we were there, we stopped by the meditation center in London. Yeah, you'll know for sure. Nirdesh, hi. Madan Mohan, hi. Shilpa, hi. Dr. Pramod, Daksha, Nirdesh, BG, Kushbu, hi. Kushbu, hi. Welcome. Jaya Kumar, great. Lakshmi, Anjita Ram, Uchu Aryan. Okay, fantastic. And Nita, okay, some people are commenting. Okay. All right, so many things. Aryan, you've written a lot. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So, okay, so look, I want to read something now, and then we're going to meditate together. Then we're going to expand our consciousness into the subconscious and superconsciousness. But first, let me read something. Just you are going to absolutely love this. It's so good, so good. And this has so much to do with this topic today. And this is from a little book that Heartfulness is publishing now, As a Man Thinketh, by James Allen, who lived back in the early 1900s. And this book is just Amazing. So, look, when I'm going to read this, and keep in mind that this was written at a time, and he's from England, from the UK. Okay, so see, you people in the UK will all know James Allen for sure. Uh, so the language is more of an old English kind of style at times, but that's okay. We're going to get this, and then you'll see how this ties in. Here we go, James Allen. The dreamers are the saviors of the world. As the visible world is sustained by the invisible, so men, through all their trials and sins and sordid vocations, are nourished by the beautiful visions of their solitary dreamers. Humanity cannot forget its dreamers. It cannot let their ideals fade and die. It lives in them. It knows them in the realities which it shall one day see and know. Composer, sculptor, painter, poet, prophet, sage. These are the makers of the afterworld, the architects of heaven. The world is beautiful because they have lived, and without them, laboring humanity would perish. He who cherishes a beautiful vision, a lofty ideal in his heart, will one day realize it. Columbus cherished a vision of another world, and he discovered it. Copernicus fostered the vision of a multiplicity of worlds and a wider universe, and he revealed it. Buddha beheld the vision of a spiritual world of stainless beauty and perfect peace, and he entered into it. Cherish your visions, cherish your ideals, cherish the music that stirs in your heart, the beauty that forms in your mind, the loveliness that drapes your purest thoughts, for out of them will grow all delightful conditions, all heavenly environment. Of these, if you but remain true to them, your world will at last be built. To desire is to obtain, to aspire is to achieve. Shall man's beast desires receive the fullest measure of gratification, and his purest aspirations starve for lack of sustenance? Such is not the law. Such a condition of things can never obtain, ask and receive. Dream lofty dreams, and as you dream, so shall you become. Your vision is the promise of what you shall one day be. Your ideal is the prophecy of what you shall at last unveil. The greatest achievement was at first and for a time a dream. The oak sleeps in the acorn, the bird waits in the egg, and in the highest vision of the soul a waking angel stirs. Dreams are the seedlings of realities. Wow. Dreams are the seedlings of realities. So look, if we don't clean off the conditioning of our past, we will only dream the dreams of our past over and over again. So we must utilize these tools of meditation and cleaning so that we can have a pure aspiration, a pure insight and understanding of our past, and a pure intuition developing of what may be coming our way. And when we do this, the thoughts that we hold will become our highest ideal, and we shall manifest that highest ideal. I should say that our highest ideal will be manifested for us, for us. So that's the work at hand. And with that, I think we should meditate and let's put into practice these things. So I invite you to meditate all together. I would like you to sit comfortably. I too need to sit comfortably. And we're going to simply close our eyes. And look, as soon as we close our eyes, as soon as we close our eyes, aren't we all together? I let go of my self perception and I begin to feel a unity, a sense of oneness and presence. And we're all feeling that. So let's take a deep breath in and let it go. Bring your awareness to the infinite heart, the area of your heart, and feel a lightness there. That lightness, our light, has a source, and that source is deep within our heart. It's always with us. So let's rest now. Let's rest on the source of light, already there within the heart. And feel the source is inviting you homeward. Let's stay with that thought. That's all. Please continue with your eyes closed and observe how you're feeling. Now feel your awareness is just expanding effortlessly within you. Whenever you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Okay, that was nice. All right, I see there's a couple of questions here before we close out the session. Um, okay, so Dr. Pramod asks, is it possible to get rid of unconscious bias? Yes, absolutely. That is exactly what we get rid of when we do our cleaning. And if you are unfamiliar with the cleaning process of heartfulness, I invite you to go to heartfulness.org and you can learn how to do the practice of cleaning. And more importantly, to really do a deeper cleaning, I would request you to take an individual sitting from a preceptor and try and do that once a week. And also try to attend a group satsang. And maybe you're doing all of these things, okay? I mean, likely you are. But I just want to say that those are the real tools for removing unconscious bias. And some of those things take a long time to let go of. I mean, look, they can be cleaned, but when we start thinking about them again, or any particular incident or person that might have wronged us, we recreate that energy of that same impression again, and then there's more cleaning. So it's important that we cooperate with this cleaning process, and once you feel a relief from it, that we just leave it be. We just let it go and be at peace with it. Okay, Radha, you say, what suggestion should I give to myself for accessing better intuition? You don't have to give yourself really a suggestion for accessing intuition. I think you just need to be more uh, aware or more observant of that developing in you because it will come to you automatically. And the more we pay attention to something or observe something, the more we're able to observe. So note that down and make sure you note these things down in your diary when you do feel you've had a moment of intuition. You write that down. Okay. All right. So everybody, Balatir, Manju, Sandra, Venkatesh, Rajesh, Dr. Pramod, Anu, Vadla, everybody, Radha and Bharat. So nice to meet. So I'm really happy and thank you. I thank you for taking the time and we're spending this time together. Really, that's the main thing. So I would like to just say, have a great rest of your evening or start of your day. And like I always say, yeah, stay with the heart. And I will see you next week. Take care.